Good evening and welcome to the live MTD podcast that we're currently producing every Thursday evening. It's a chance for us to catch up on all the activities that have been occurring during the week. And I have two special guests today that are joining me. I'm Giovanni Albanese, hosting today's show, a passionate engineer and a proud member of the MTD team. I'm joined by the Swarf Guru himself, Mr. Joe Reynolds, and the Silver Fox, Mr. Colin Griffiths. So welcome, gentlemen, to tonight's podcast. How are you doing, guys?
Good evening. Really good. Really good, thank you.
So, Joe, start with you. What have you been up to?
Yeah, it's a busy week so far, in all honesty. A lot of interaction with clients, a lot of talking about plans, plans for when we come out of this, but more importantly, plans of what we can do today. There's still a lot of we can do, to promote stuff, even in these times. But yeah, another busy week so far.
Right, good. Now, Colin, we spoke last week. Since last week, what have you been up to this week?
It has been surprisingly busy. Everyone's in lockdown, but all the engineers I've been speaking to have been. A few have furloughed and they're ticking over, but most of them are absolutely they run ragged. They really are. It's absolutely amazing. So I've been speaking to them, potentially new clients for MTD network, which is always great. Busy doing MTD daily. We had Edward from Citizen Machinery on talk about how Citizen are helping, which was a great little story because the government actually came to him and said, how can we help with the manufacture of respirator parts? They've been getting loads of machines out, which is a great story to hear. So MTD Daily we're doing probably on a daily basis. It's in the name, and then we've got a big. Well, hopefully between all of us, we're planning a big show for next week. Well, next week or two. So just getting customers on board with that, and the response has been phenomenal. They really want to get involved because I know Paul, the MD, the boss, whatever you want to call him. I won't say friend, but he's been driving this from the front. Getting technology and all the guys in the back as well. The technology we're using now. It's absolutely brilliant. You wouldn't realise that I'm in my office at home, would you?
Well, I'm really excited. Sorry, Joe.
No, as you're saying, is that really an office?
No, if that falls down, I'm actually in the park.
Well, we'll touch upon that later, Colin. What you mentioned about the Mac kind of videos that we're going to produce and about all the latest technology that would have been on show at Mac next week. Really, really exciting. Absolutely great topic to touch upon. Let's start with, whilst we've been on this lockdown, what is the best technology that you have seen so far whilst we've been on this lockdown? Joe, I'll start with you.
Gives me time
it's
to
a great
think.
question. Yeah, thanks. It's a great question. Obviously, we're a technology first company, really. We do embrace technology anyway in terms of software, but all these different things like this, the StreamYard we're using now, we're using Slack to communicate with, the team. Like I know there's Microsoft Teams and there's various other things really, but they're all similar really. But to me, it's how people are communicating, and I'm not sure we'll ever go back to traditional email anymore. We've been using WhatsApp for many years. It's almost like WhatsApp but on a computer and a lot better, isn't it? So for me, it's the connectivity. It's the type of thing we're doing now. That's been the biggest thing.
That's a good point, Joe. I think that, everyone I'm speaking to at the minute is kind of having virtual conference calls, virtual demos, webinars, re-educating their staff. There's lots of positives that are coming out of this. What do you think, Colin?
So I'm looking away. Could just make us some notes. First of all, Joe, you sound like Max Headroom there. If you remember, that's showing my age. If anybody remembers him from Channel 4, if I remember rightly. But as Joe said, technology in terms of us doing this virtual. I mean, Joe's not doing any product placement by mentioning StreamYard, Slack, Zoom, Microsoft Teams, but he's on a commission from all of them, I heard. But it is absolutely working phenomenally. And the guys, our backroom guys, have done a fantastic job. But also the engineers out there, they're just, I suppose not little things, but technology in terms of Quick Grind, for example, helped out one of my customers on MTD network, Keep It KB Technologies. He needed some specialist tooling, not specialist, but bespoke. It was a ball nose cutter, and they come to the party, and he's got a cracking contract. He's doing, I think, about 20,000 respirator parts at the moment. Poor guy's run ragged, but that side of things, technology, and also technology. You see, a lot of the guys. I think I mentioned these last week. Contract Solutions up in Scotland, a great example. Automation. They've got their match shearing machines, but they've got the long towers. I think it is off the top of my head. Absolutely great automation. They can leave the machine shop running 24/7. Yeah, there's obviously issues with furloughing, but they could still smash out those components. I say smash out, that's not a very good word, is it? But they can still manufacture those components. So some great technology.
Yeah, how about you, Gio?
I think I'd agree with Colin really in regards to the automation. Prior to coming on to this podcast, I was rushing to get onto it in time, actually, discussing some things with Hydrofeed UK. They actually manufacture their own automation solutions in the UK in regards to the Hydrofeed bar feeder, but they also have the Robo Job, the Roto Rack, and they're still delivering, they're still supplying automated solutions. And I think that in this current climate that we're in, I mean, we did a podcast with Martin and Ashley, didn't we, Joe? Not too long ago, and I just think it's really highlighting the fact that it's absolutely essential to be manufacturing parts in the most efficient and productive way possible, and especially at this time when these parts are for the NHS, for ventilators, and these parts are critical in the fact that they are saving lives. And I think for me, automation, the latest technology, like you mentioned, Joe, Zoom, and all of the other software solutions that you've bought shares in, are also a fantastic way in communicating. And how would we be able to work without this? We wouldn't. We quite simply wouldn't be able to work. And even with the automation, if you haven't actually got a man in your workshop, you could be running your workshop remotely, albeit you might have to go and reload the machines. So yeah, for me, I think both are as important as each other. And when we looked at Industry 4.0 a couple of years ago, when everyone didn't really understand it, to be perfectly honest, it's really, I think it's really highlighting what it actually is at this moment in time, working remotely. And I think that it really, thankfully, we've got that technology available. Now, Colin, a quick one for you. During this period, who has inspired you the most? I mean, that could be someone in manufacturing, a politician. There's been lots of inspiring stories out there. For you, who's inspired you, Colin?
Two, actually. One might be a little bit controversial, and the other one is just, and this is nothing really to do with engineering, but it's just such a heartwarming thing. First of all, not the heartwarming thing, but Piers Morgan, he's got on not a bandwagon, he's leading it, and he's actually really, really being proactive. I know he's an opinionated so-and-so and can offend some people, but he's done a great job, I think. But the other one is the, I can't get if his name right. Is it Major Tom? He's a 100-year-old guy where he wants to walk 100 laps of his garden before he's 100 on the 30th of April, I think it is. He aimed to raise £1,000. It's now up to £14 million he's raised. It's just, I mean, yeah, absolutely fantastic. So nothing to do with engineering, but inspirational.
Yeah,
I struggle to get out of bed in the morning, let alone doing 100 laps.
That is inspirational for sure. Joe?
Definitely Major Tom. Incredible, isn't it? Like, I'm not. It may even be his birthday today. I'm not sure, but it's about £14 million, believe it or not, which is just, it's astonishing. And I think Colin, your friend there, what's his name, Piers Morgan, he donated £10,000 of his hard-earned money, didn't he? So well done, Piers. But yeah, no, in terms of inspiration, it just obviously all the manufacturers we see, the NHS or the care as the rebranded almost. So all the care workers, the people that truly are frontline, the manufacturers, and in truth, all the mums out there. Crikey, I've been working from home for 3 weeks solid now, and I tell you what, they deserve a medal. I'm not sure about the NHS. All the mums that happen to pull up with the children, they do a remarkable job.
I don't think it's the children as much in my household anyway. I think it's putting up with me that's the hard bit, for sure. Same. So I'm definitely inspired by my Nicola. So thanks, Nicola. But I think the NHS.
Say that, Gio, because she's right behind you.
The NHS, 100%. I think, blimey. I mean, God, what a job. I mean, it must be so scary thankfully we've got people like that in the world. I think also the engineers, I think when the going gets tough, the engineers get going, and they just never seem to stop. So thank you. And we've done a great video. Lindsay did a great video that I think got released today. And you can find that on the MTD platform. Well worth a watch. And it really does kind of showcase what the engineers in the UK have been up to, and everyone pulling together is just been absolutely inspirational. So like moving on, really, guys. I mean, it's been unprecedented times. I've been on another podcast with Matt Janess from Microlock this evening, and we've been talking similar to how we've been talking. Everyone's in the same boat. Do you think technologies will change as a direct result forever due to the current climate that we're in? I suppose we have touched upon that in a roundabout way. Joe, what do you think?
Come to me again. I think things will evolve. I think the type of thing we're doing now will continue, and there's no reason why it shouldn't. This connectivity, I do think there is I don't think it's going to be where everyone works from home. There is big advantages of having lots of creative people in the same environment. But I do see this more remote working taking off a little more, certainly for podcasts and things. I think it's fantastic. If you take it a step further, maybe I've got a component I'm struggling to a machine. You'd phone up the rep, and the rep would say, I'll be in tomorrow, Monday, next Wednesday, next Thursday, whenever it may be. But I don't see a reason you can't do it off the iPad, really. Now, if you've got a good connection, these 4K iPads, all you need is to hear it and look at the swarf, essentially, quite often. And from that, you can determine whether that tool's been run correctly. So you may even get to a scenario where you're FaceTiming a guy on the machine, and they're there with the iPad looking at the components, and you're talking about machining strategies. You can hear the performance of the tool. You can look at the color of the chips, the formation of the chips. And that will tell you all you need to know. It saves you getting in the car. You'll never replace that face to face, but I don't see why you can't do it. I don't see why you can't do that at all. To be honest with you, you can see all you need to see on an iPad.
Well, I totally agree with you. I think there's big companies that are looking to close down their factories or their facilities and let their staff work remotely, which will save a lot of money, save a lot of kind of traveling back and forth to work, and I suppose that time traveling as well is saved where you can be doing more work. I think that a lot of companies have started to work like that. Hoffman, for one, we've done a question time with Tim Paddison, where they're calling it virtual consultation or something. They've got an actual terminology for what you're saying, Joe, and I don't see no reason why that should continue way into the future. For me, I really, really do miss meeting people face to face. I think I'm finding it really difficult.
I miss you too, mate.
Staying in the house. I miss you all. I really am missing it a lot. It's really, really difficult, and I don't mind a bit of a 50-50 mix, but 100% at home is difficult. And if I get out of it, if Nicola doesn't kill me, then I can't wait to get back out on the road as well. Colin, what do you think, mate? What do you think?
Couple of things there. First of all, Nicola did say that about being stuck with you, so I was chatting to her earlier, but we'll say no more on that. Joe, as you mentioned the iPad, he's on commission on that one as well. Other tablets are available. You said about less travelling and things like that. Not that I'm an eco warrior or a tree hugger or whatever, but environmentally, my car hasn't moved all week. We're just checking out on the drive. No, it's still there. But that's the pollution is going down and things like that. So it's great for the environment. But moving on from that, I think will technology move on? I think technology is already moving on at a fast pace. I think just more people will now think about embracing it. So I've got less staff here. I haven't been able to manufacture these parts because there haven't been people to load it, whatever. So I've got to look at that option. Simple as that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that artificial intelligence is another one for me where it is. I think that's going to be coming into its own. It started to kind of make a little bit of a scene, but that's something that I'm sure that we'll see in the future. The government announced this evening, actually, that we're going to be on another 3-week lockdown. You know,
just ran out of beer.
When do you see us? When do you think, guys? You know, in a safe way, when do you see us coming out of this? And how can we come out of this, really?
Oh, it's going to be more than 3 weeks, I should imagine. But we obviously more extreme than Brexit, but we adapt, we change, like the technology we're using now. So, we look at opportunities and we come up with new ideas. We're always moving forward. If it's broken, as every good engineer does, we fix it, do it a different way. So, we're making a good thing out of a bad situation. How's that? Yeah. And someone just said in my ear as well about, well, we need to, we can do all this virtually. Will we need to fly anymore? Absolutely, because I want to go on a nice holiday when the flight's back.
Yeah. What do you think, Joe? What's your take on all this?
I wasn't listening, mate. No, you're joking. No, you're joking. No, I would say 3 weeks' time. I think there will be, and I'm no politician, but I think there will be some, loosening of the reins in 3 weeks' time. All the evidence is pointing towards the fact it is working. I'm not saying they'll say 3 weeks' time, go back to your normal day. Of course they won't. That's going to be sometime in the future. But I genuinely think, there's car plants opening up across Europe. They've been closed for a number of weeks, and there's a couple been announced, in the last couple of days. So things are moving on in Europe, and we appear to be no more than 4 weeks behind them. So that would tell me in 4 weeks' time we're going to be in a much better place. It's important we stay home, save lives, save the NHS and all the rest of it currently. I genuinely think in 3 weeks' time we're going to be in a much, much better place.
I hope you're right. Go on, Colin.
No, I was just pointing at something on my ceiling. No, I'm joking. With this as well, I think it's going to give companies in general, but engineers, the opportunity to reflect on things and actually work out maybe they were doing things not as efficient as they could have done before. So it will make them more efficient and it will make them more profitable. So yes, we're in a bad situation at the moment, but coming out, there's going to be big dip, but I'm getting my economics head on here. There's going to be a big boost, I reckon, 6-8 months, hopefully. So I'll give you some share tips later when we're offline. Yeah,
well, I was speaking to Gordon from SolidCam today. He told me that he's been talking to some of his customers. They're investing in new machinery. They're looking into the future for when they get out. They are having record numbers attend their webinars, learning about the software that they offer. So it is a time in which we can reflect. We can look at the processes and the ways in which we did do things. When you're really deep in production, you don't get that luxury to be able to assess the way in which you're actually manufacturing a part. It might be incorrect, and you may well know that you can do it in a better and more efficient way, but you've just not had the time to be able to change that process. This is the perfect opportunity for all engineers, manufacturers alike to re-educate themselves, to look at the ways in which they're manufacturing parts and to improve them when we come out, and to embrace some of the latest technologies and innovations. And whilst I'm on that theme, Colin, you mentioned that next week MTD have got a massive show. Now, we put out an email to our database, to our end user database, I believe it was last week, to see if they wanted to learn about some of the latest technologies that would have been exhibited at MAC, which should have started next week. We had an unbelievable response to that email. And subsequently, due to that, we are going to be producing a show for our clients in regard to the technology, the new technology and innovations that they would have been showcasing at MAC next week. So please keep an eye on our platform. And it's an absolute, it's a show you just cannot afford to miss. This will be your opportunity to catch up on all the latest technologies and innovations. And I certainly cannot wait for this. Guys, it's exciting stuff, eh, Colin?
Well, I've been speaking to a few customers today who are really embracing it, and I've got I won't say who it is. We'll keep that bit of excitement going. But they've actually got a virtual MAC stand, which they were going to use, but they're going to use it on our show, so we get to see that, which will be great. Really will. And they've got this new technology which I'm ready to showcase. So this is such a great platform, and we can do the Mac. I'm really looking forward to it, actually. It's going to be hard work for poor old Lindsay because I think she's running it, and it's going to be a long show. But there's a lot of technology to showcase. So we won't give too much away yet, but there's some fantastic new machines and technology coming out. Absolutely,
really, really exciting stuff, and we're so privileged to be able to still be doing the jobs that we're doing. I'm very grateful. Joe, what do you think about this special Mac edition? It's exciting stuff.
It is exciting. Obviously, it's a pity the show's not going to go ahead as planned, but we are where we are. We can't change where we are. But yeah, there's so much, isn't there? So much technology. It's moving at such a pace. I think you'd be crazy not to watch it, just from an educational perspective. You know, there are things within your business that you can do better. I'm sure we can as well. But for the engineers out there watching, maybe you should be looking at a new machine tool. Maybe you should be looking at doing that 500 a month that you do. Let's look at getting some cycle time. Let's look how we hold that component, reduce the amount of operations, things like this. And the only way of doing that, well, certainly in the current environment, is to tune into our channel, really, tune into ours and other channels to, educate yourself. If you're furloughed, you're allowed to do online education stuff anyway. So, yeah, just keep watching our channels, find all these webinars that are going on, and educate yourself, as much as you can, really. But certainly that Mac show, it's going to be a belter.
I absolutely and utterly can't wait, and it was so nice to hear we are all hearing so many positive stories on a daily basis, which is great. Really, it's not all doom and gloom out there, and we can't wait to come out the other end, and we will come out the other end. And Colin, what will be the very first thing that you do when we do come out of the official lockdown, and you can do whatever you want? What will be the first? That's probably.
I'm not sure that's broadcastable. Well, I've been practicing in the privacy of my own house. I'm not sure that's broadcastable. But apart from that, not that my cooking's bad, but a fine meal, a fine wine, not one of yours, Gio, because they're A, dodgy, and B, expect. No, I'm joking. I'm not. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, definitely a fine meal out. I think absolutely. But yeah. But I just want to quickly go back. Talking about new technology, Joe, over your shoulder, looks like you might need some new technology there. The printer looks a bit mangy, mate. What's
in truth, it isn't the best, Colin. That is something you could admit. A printer at work. They said they do about 500 sheets, but they never do they?
Oh well, there's a great system that Gio and I use. We'll talk about that offline. It's absolutely fantastic. But also, I know I do go on about this, but I'm going to go on about it again, and I'll keep it brief. Finance. We've had a couple of our engineers saying, furloughed staff, finance-wise, it is a struggle. What do you do? And they don't know. They're not getting the advice, the help, and things like that. So it's there's a process called C-bills. I don't know what it exactly stands for, to be honest. But if anybody knows about it or could give some advice, please feel free to. I know I've been speaking to Paul Cox from Asset Finance Northampton. He's got full details of it. But if anybody else could give us some advice, some of these guys, yes, some are very, very busy. Others need the help. They've got great businesses, but at the moment cash flow is really struggling. So something like that would be really, really useful if anybody could engage with us on that. Absolutely.
Yeah, brilliant. And
Joe, what lend us the money, Colin?
Oh yeah, hold on. No.
Colin, Joe,
what am I going to do first? I can't wait to take the family out of the house. In truth, something.
You'll stay at home, though.
Yeah. No, something as simple as taking the family out. To be honest, I can't wait just to go out, get in the car, which hasn't moved for some time. In fact, I need to start them. Take the car for a drive, take the family out. Just nice, straightforward, simple meal. Something that you would do without thinking about it traditionally. But from a work perspective, I can't wait to get back in the car, go and see some engineers, shake my client's hand. And just get back to normal as quick as possible. The things that we took for granted just aren't there currently.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Well, I can't wait to see my mum and have some of my mum's pasta. I'm really looking forward to that.
Can't say that with Nicky in the
room. But no, it's been an absolute pleasure this evening, guys. Next week on the Monday, we have Question Time Live. We have Nick Peter from Managing Director of Ironbook UK that will be joining us live, and he'll be answering any questions. The topic is going to be improving your processes and reducing downtime. So it should be really interesting. Definitely tune in to that one. We've got lots of other activities occurring on the MTD platforms, whether it be Network, MTDCNC. So stay tuned. Joe, Colin, any last thoughts?
No, keep working hard and stay safe.
No, that's it. I think I've got to venture down the shops, Gio. I'm afraid the beer keg has run out. So that's that. Does that constitute as essential shopping?
Oh yes,
definitely not.
Okay, gents. Yeah, that's it from me. But great chat to you, and hopefully people enjoyed listening to me.
Thanks, Colin. Thanks, Joe. It's been an absolute pleasure as always, and can't wait to catch up in person and have some beers together. That will be nice.
Yeah.
And wine.
And
Cheers
wine.
to that.
Take care.
Take care. Stay safe.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening to the MTD podcast. If you found value in this episode, please subscribe and leave a rating and review. Find more episodes on mtdcnc.com.